So the events at Monday Night Raw all but guarantees that the Judgment Day is definitely going to lose at Survivor Series. Now, how did I come up with this conclusion? Well, I'll let you guys know in a few seconds. And as a added bonus, I'm going to fantasy book how this whole thing is going to happen with Damian Priest and the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Now, before we get started, hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it. Now, let's get into this. So if you didn't watch Monday Night Raw last night, I'm going to do this as quick as I possibly can. There was an important segment that added it to my conclusion where the men of the Judgment Day come out to confront Team Cody Rhodes, which consists of the Super Saiyan Pastor Cody Rhodes, an inside joke of the channel, okay? Main event Jey Uso, Sniper Seth Rollins, another inside joke of the channel, and Sami Zayn. Now, one of the key things that happened here is that Team Cody Rhodes was teasing Damian Priest like, hey, who's the leader of this group? Is it Mommy? Is it Dirty Dominic Mysterio? Is it Finn Balor? I don't know who it is. Which one is it? And then eventually Damian Priest got so frustrated where he belted out, I am the leader of the Judgment Day, which is really shocking because we all know the mantra of the Judgment Day, outside of the fact that they run Raw, is that they believe that they're all on the same level, that no one's a leader of the group. And this fast forwards into a backstage segment with the Judgment Day where Rhea Ripley takes like a little shot at Damian Priest saying, oh, let's just find out what our fearless leader has to say about this. Like something like that. And Dominic Mysterio is like, hey, I thought we didn't book matches, but you know, we'll worry about that later. But eventually Rhea Ripley says Damian Priest is going to be the leader of the War Games team, which is another reason why I believe they're definitely going to lose that match. Now, fast forwarding to the main event of Raw, which was the Tag Team Championship belt match between Damian Priest, Finn Balor versus the Super Saiyan Pastor Cody Rhodes, and main event Jey Uso. Now, one of the surprising things that happened here, which some of us kind of knew there was something going to happen like this, is when Jey Uso was outside of the ring, Drew McIntyre comes out and claymores his teeth down his throat, rolls him in the ring. Finn Balor looks shocked, like, oh, what's happening? Ends up pinning him 1, 2, 3, and Finn Balor, Damian Priest, they retain those tag team championship belts. And then Drew McIntyre goes up the ramp. He's standing in front of the Survivor Series logo and basically does what Cyclops and Ryu did on the title screen for Marvel vs. Capcom and shakes hand with Rhea Ripley, which pretty much shows us that at least temporarily for the War Games, he is a part of the Judgment Day. Now, how does all of this coming together make me conclude that the Judgment Day is definitely going to lose at War Games? Now, one of the main things we got to think about is the fact that Damian Priest does not like outsiders being a part of the family. He thinks that, or he knows and feels like that the four that are there are his family. And I'm talking about him, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor. So he don't like outsiders coming in. That you see how he was treating JD McDonough when he came in, and even though he accepted him as far as being an official member of the Judgment Day, you could still tell that there was some type of, resistance. Like he didn't really want to do that, but he did it anyways out of respect because he saw that JD, sacrificed himself. And now you got this other person in Drew McIntyre joining the group, which I'm sure he had nothing to do with and he wasn't consulted with. So he's probably going to feel disrespected by that happening, and he's not going to trust Drew McIntyre. So him and Drew McIntyre is going to butt heads leading up to Survivor Series, which isn't going to be a long time. When I say butt heads, I mean that Drew McIntyre is going to have some great ideas of how they can win this match. And Damian Priest is going to be basically like, I don't want to listen to what this guy has to say. I'm the leader of this group. I'm supposed to make the plans. I'm supposed to ensure things go right. If I'm the leader, let me handle this. And the rest of the group is like, hey, he has a good idea of how we can catch a win. If we're going to run Monday Night Raw, we got to run these main pay-per-views. And he has some good ideas. And Damian Priest said, if you put me as a leader, let me handle this. So he's not going to like Drew McIntyre because he feel like that, he's impeding in the group. He had no choice as far as him being added. Rhea Ripley did this without consulting him. And if they're all supposed to be equal, then why is one person and the other person, like Finn, adding people to the group without talking to him about it first? Things are just happening around there and he doesn't feel like it's equal. So why does this matter? Because I feel like this mentality of him being, upset about being disrespected and kind of insecure about his spot in the group, is going to ooze into the War Games match. Now, what I believe is going to happen, there's going to be a place where Drew McIntyre has somebody prime and ready for a pin to win the match for his team. And I believe Damian Priest is going to take Drew McIntyre, throw him back, kick him off or something like that, because he wants to ensure, since he is the leader, that he has the hand that wins this match. Now, him and Drew McIntyre is going to be arguing back and forth. Like, I think Damian Priest is going to try to pin the person, Drew's going to pull him off, and then they're going to be arguing. And then I think the other team is going to do their finishers or their signature moves and end up pinning them 1, 2, 3. Now, this is going to really piss off Rhea Ripley, because Rhea Ripley's like, Drew McIntyre had us in a spot where we can win. We're supposed to win these matches, but you let your pride and you let your mentality and insecurity take over and then make us lose this match. And Damian Priest is like, he's not the leader and he's causing a wedge in this group. If it wasn't for him, you know, blah, blah, blah. And Rhea Ripley's like, well, if it wasn't for you, you guys would have won that match. If it wasn't for Drew McIntyre, you guys wouldn't still have your tag team championship belts here. So you got to give him a little bit credit. If it wasn't for JD, this, and this, but you don't like him either. I think something is coming through your head, and you're not the person that I remember that you are. And Damian Priest is at the point where he's like, dude, you got these new guys coming in here causing wedges in this family. We were better before they got here. Now, what I think is going to eventually happen is at another pay-per-view, I believe that Damian Priest is going to end up doing something to cost him and Finn Balor the championship, not on purpose, but he's going to get pinned for those tag team championship belts. And in that same night, I believe that Drew McIntyre is going to have his rematch against Seth Rollins and actually win the World Heavyweight Championship belt off of him. Now, the part where it's starting to get a little different is because Finn Balor is going to be upset because he's like, I had gold, you cost me gold, and you got Dominic Mysterio, who still has a title, Rhea Ripley has a title, Drew McIntyre has a title, and I don't have anything because of you. And Finn Balor is going to add, when I had the match against Seth Rollins for the championship belt, you cost me that. Now you cost me the tag team titles. You also cost us the War Game match. I feel like you have an issue with me. I don't know what's going on here, but you're not benefiting the team. And now Damian Priest is starting to feel like everyone is turning against him. This is not the family that they brought together. They were cool before these people came in, and now that they're here, they're causing issues around everybody. Now, Drew McIntyre is slowly going to end up being the leader of the group, which, you know, Damian Priest is going to feel disrespected because he's like, this whole time we talked about no one is going to be the leader of this group. But Drew McIntyre with the championship, he's going to be the leader. Now, what I think is going to happen is that the Judgment Day, and this is going to be brought up by Drew McIntyre, they're going to have to make the unfortunate decision to ask Damian Priest to leave the group because they feel like he's not beneficial to the group. They feel like him being a part of the group is ruining his mentality, and they think it's best for him to step out of the group. And he's pretty much going to be heartbroken because you look at the four that I've been talking about as family, and for someone to come in and have him get kicked out, he's just not going to take that too well at all. So here's the part of my fantasy booking that is a really cool idea in my personal opinion, but probably would never happen. So let's get into this. So what I think should happen is you should have Finn Balor and JD McDonough win the tag team championship belts. Yes, tag team championship belts for Finn Balor again, but I think it will be cool for the mentor and the mentee to have a belt together. I think that'll be really, really cool. But what can happen is Drew McIntyre at this point celebrating that they all have titles, that they're draped in gold. He should institute this insane rule. And the insane rule is that in order to stay in the Judgment Day, you have to have a title, right? Which is great at this moment because you have Rhea Ripley with the World Women's Championship belt. You have JD and Finn with the Tag Team Championship belts. You got Dominic Mysterio with the North American Championship belt. And at this point, you got Drew McIntyre with the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Now, they're going to all look at him like he's crazy. Like, what? Are you going to kick us out because we don't have a title? He's like, no. Listen to me. This rule applies to me. And if I don't have consequences for things, then we're not going to take this seriously. And if we take this seriously, we keep our head on a swivel, then we're going to make sure that we keep these titles and have the longest reigns you've ever seen, the most dominant faction you have ever seen. And people will know not only do we run Raw, not only do we run WWE, but we run the history of WWE. And off that concept, they all agree with it because they believe, hey, they're going to be helping each other out. No one's going to lose the title because people are going to interfere. So it has worked up until this point. So why not agree to this? Well, the reason why they shouldn't agree to it in the first place is because eventually down the line, Dominic Mysterio is going to have a match for that NXT North American Championship belt, and he's going to drop it to someone in NXT. And at that point, Mommy, of course, is not going to like it because her Dom has got to leave the group based upon an agreement that they made. And she's going to talk to Drew McIntyre like, hey, does he have to leave immediately? Blah, blah, blah. And Drew McIntyre is like, no, he got to go. That's the rules that we have. And then Rhea Ripley's like, hey, but what if he goes back and get that title? Can you just at least give him an extension to go get the title? And if he does, can he stay in the group? And Drew McIntyre is like, I have to think about it. I'm not the type to bend the rules. Rules are rules. So she goes to Finn Balor and tells him about it. And Finn is like, they made the rules. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry. I hate it. I feel bad for the kid. I like the kid, but I don't make the rules. And then eventually she goes to Damian Priest, and Damian Priest is like, how am I supposed to help you guys? Because when I was at a point where you guys voted me out, I asked you guys to help me out, or I needed you guys to help me out, you guys did nothing. You guys, in fact, are the reason I'm out of the group. So now you want to come to me to help you guys out? And she's like, it's different without you because it was like family. Now it just feels like we're just being ran. And he's like, well, you guys wanted a leader. We all agreed on no leaders. Now you guys have a leader, so now you want to, be upset about it. But eventually, Damian Priest, because he does really care about that family, because he does care about the Judgment Day, he's like, I don't know what to do. We'll figure something out. Now, when she goes back to Drew McIntyre, I know this seems like an extensive story. Drew McIntyre is like, all right, well, I'm going to allow that to happen because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in. You got me into the group to get the title that I want. Okay, I'll give him a mulligan, but I will never do this again, ever again. So Dominic Mysterio tries to go get back, get the NXT North American title again. Even with the help of the Judgment Day, he still loses the match, and Mommy is going crazy. She is going crazy. Now, she really has to go to Damian Priest and say, you know what? We miss you. We want you back. I wish you can, fix this whole situation. And they have a rule in this group where if you don't have a title, you gotta leave the group. And the only way that we can get Drew McIntyre out of the group is for you to cash in that Money in the Bank contract. And if you cash it in, you get the title like you want it, and we also get to get him out of the group. So it's a win-win situation. He's like, well, remember when I wanted to cash it in the first place, but you told me not to do it? Now all of a sudden you want me to use it when you want me to use it? So he's getting a little bit petty, but at the end of the day, he does care about him so much that at the next pay-per-view that Drew McIntyre has to defend that title, he ends up cashing in that Money in the Bank contract to get that title off of Drew McIntyre. Now, Drew McIntyre is going to ask for a rematch and get it set up by Adam Pearce. And if he wins this match, he gets a title, which means he gets to get back into the Judgment Day, and Damian Priest has to get out, set by these own rules that people agree to. And once they have this championship match, I don't know if it's going to happen at Royal Rumble. I don't know if it's going to happen at WrestleMania. Damian Priest, of course, is going to win that match. And he's going to be like, hey, we're not going by these rules. There's no leaders. We're going to do this as a family. And then the Judgment Day is going to be back together the way they were supposed to be in the first place. So that's just the way I thought about it. I don't know. I didn't put too much deep thought into it. I didn't write it down. What do you guys think about that storyline? What would you guys add? What would you guys take away? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute. Peace. Have a good day.